Same-sex marriage is dividing the church, literally.
The revisionist teaching of leaders around, well, in certain parts of the country have forced this situation.
And so a new denomination just dropped, the Diocese of the Southern Cross, made up of members who believe an all-too-progressive approach to marriage and sexual ethics has seen the Anglican Church lose its way.
I would say the church hasn't lost its way, the church has found its way. The church has listened to LGBTQIA+ people and heard their cry, heard their pain. We believe we're 150% faithful to Scripture, and that's why we've come to the views we've come to.
Similar schisms are occurring across the globe as the conservative and progressive arms of Anglicanism duke it out. But the splintering of religions is nothing new. The Anglican Church itself only came about because the Pope wouldn't let Henry VIII get a divorce. The Roman Catholic Church emerged in 1054 after an argument over which bread to use for communion, and so on. Today's divisions are largely over same-sex marriage. A recent meeting of Australian Anglicans passed a resolution defining marriage as only between a man and a woman. At the same time, bishops voted against a motion that would forbid the blessing of same-sex marriages.
Nobody knows what's going to happen next. Nobody knows how many people are going to join this breakaway new church. What's happened this week has been a catalyst for some of us to stand up and speak out against those who want to diminish all our sisters and brothers.
Peter Sanders, an organ player at St Mary's in New South Wales, married his partner Peter Grace in early 2020. He claims the church's bishop said he couldn't keep his role unless he left the marriage. The two men instead left the parish.
He says, I'm not real happy about this. You got my zapper on.
So as both sides dig their heels in and schisms deepen, where to from here for the Anglican Church?
Take me to church.
The two Peters join us now from their home in Armidale. Organist Peter, let me start with you. You say you were told you couldn't remain in the church if you remained married. How exactly did that conversation go?
Well, it actually was delivered to us by one of the members of the management committee meeting at the church, and they made an appointment to come and see us, and we thought, oh, what's going on here? We sort of thought we might have had an idea of what was going on. Anyway, they came and told us that that we needed to divorce and separate if we wanted to remain in the church and doing our positions as I was the organist and the musical director of the small parish of St Mary's, and Peter was helping out on the management committee on doing a 125th anniversary for the little church here in Armidale.
How did the other congregation react?
Well, the congregation were flabbergasted, I suppose. They then called a meeting and they voted on that particular Sunday. There were 32 people present at the meeting, which we weren't present at, and they voted 31-1 to support us.
They're very supportive.
Gosh, it must be such a hard thing, I would imagine, to have a conversation happening about your relationship. You're two men who are committed to the church and your faith, and then you're committed to each other. Did you ever imagine yourself being in a situation like this? How did it feel?
No, not at all. And I don't know, I can't speak for Peter completely, but we felt like our life had become not our own, and, you know, that they were talking about us behind our backs, and rather than coming to us directly with what they had an issue with. That's not the way I think we should have done. Things should have been done. I think they should have come and spoken to us directly if they had an issue.
For people that don't understand faith and perhaps haven't spent time within the church, with this kind of treatment, why do you stay?
Because your faith is a lot more than just the clergy and the physical building. It's your relationship with God, so that doesn't stop. You still need to have that relationship.
And is that something that you feel you still need to be a part of the church in some capacity to do?
Well, some people feel that they can do it without it, but I mean, you have a church community then.
Yeah.
People that support you and you support, and you have a faith community.
You've got mediation with the bishop in front of the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board next month, guys. What do you hope to have come out of that?
Well, I think we're really looking for an apology for what's gone on, because we're not the only ones that have been hurt by this. there's a lot of members of the congregation that have written letters of support and what have you, and in support of us, and have been basically excommunicated from the church.
Peter, it's Peter here. I do need to address the elephant in the room. You're both named Peter. How much?
Yes.
How much confusion does that cause, or is it something that you can exploit?
Look, we're just commonly known as P1 and P2, and I get P2 because I'm the younger one. So yeah, P1's the elder of the two of us, so he gets P1 and I get P2.
And with this Pete, you've got P3 as well.
P3, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, P1, P2 from P3 and the rest of us, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.